Okay, now we start using the Tax Act program. Here it is. It's downloading. And this is the Tax Act Plus for year 2016. So we have to go straight to Forms. Click Forms. And we will be using 1040. This year we could not use 1040A because this is only for calculation and demonstration. So we use Form 1040 instead. And we use the hypothetical John Smith. So this is 1040. We enter the first name as John, last name as Smith, social security. He's single, so we do not enter any spouse, first name or last name. And we proceed to address 23 Main Street, apartment 2C, presidential election campaign. You could use it if you want to donate $3 to the presidential election campaign. In this case, you click U, but I usually disregard it because I don't give anything to the presidential election campaign, and I proceed to the filing status and click single. After that, you scroll down, and in student status, you click taxpayer was not a student because he was not in a college. Okay, so exemptions, line 6A, you click yourself, date of birth, for example, 04/07/1988. Keep going, nothing for spouse, obviously. He is single, no dependents. And here we enter the wages, salaries, etc. from form W2, from box 1, for example, 50,000. And taxable interest. Nowadays, we don't really get much interest from saving or checking, but let's say he got a bank statement and it says $20 because everything above the $10 has to be reported. So we enter it here for line 8A, and we have to print out the Schedule B as well. And for that, we click on Schedule B, which is right here. This is Schedule B for Form 1040, interest and ordinary dividends. And we enter the payer, which is basically the Chase Bank, for example, the name of his bank, $20. And it will be basically it, because it's interest. For bonds and stocks, you put dividends here. This is for foreign accounts, but usually this is the part 1. So we have to print it, 2 copies as supporting documents, and 1 copy you leave for yourself, and another copy you attach to the Form 1040, because you enter the $20, so we have to have the supporting documentation. Okay, so we proceed. Taxable interest, Schedule B we have, that we will attach later. We skip all this part, pension, farm income, it doesn't apply unless you have it, health saving, etc., etc. And we come to the line 37, which is adjusted gross income, the sum of the wage and interest. And we keep scrolling. We got standard deduction, which is the easiest, unless you have a lot of deduction for the home or etc. We got taxable income and tax, which is supposed to be tax for federal purposes for this amount. Okay, we keep scrolling. This is the credits, etc., etc. Doesn't apply. And we come to the line 61, which is a healthcare individual responsibility full year coverage. Let's say this guy is covered by his corporate insurance, so we click full year coverage. Okay, and we scroll down. This year we do not attach the form you may get from your company stating that you have a coverage, but you keep it for your records in case IRS will ask you for that. So we continue scrolling, and here's the total tax supposed to be charged. Now the form asks for the federal income tax withheld from Form W2 or 1099. And we look at the W2 box 2 for federal income tax withheld, and for example it was 6,500. Okay, we scroll down, no additional credit, nothing here, and the program calculates how much is supposed to be charged and how much we actually paid, and amount you overpaid is $810, and it's asking how much you want to be refunded to you, and we want everything to be refunded to us, so it's the same amount. Here you may enter the routing number, checking, saving, and account number of your checking or saving if you want the money to be deposited to you right away, or if you don't want to mess with it, or don't have an account, or just want a paper check, you do not enter anything here. And IRS assume you will get a paper check, which will be a little bit later, but you may cash it, you may deposit it to your bank yourself, so it depends on what you want. And we scroll down here. This is the date by which it's supposed to be filed. Do you want to allow another person to discuss this refund with the IRS? We click no, because we did it ourselves. And here we have to sign it after you print it. Enter the date, your occupation, for example, financial analyst, date, time, phone number, and basically we are done with the federal form. So we scroll again, and we click print, and we want 2 copies. Remember, one for yourself, one for the IRS. We click print, and when it's printed, don't remember to sign it, because without signature, it's basically not valid. Sign it here, date here, look through again, through the whole form to make sure everything is correct. And let's say everything is correct, we're good. Now we want to mail it. So where do we mail it? For that part, we click Forms, Instructions. And in Instructions, it's supposed to be mailing address, or you may get it straight from the internet, but we want to use the program. So here is the explanation for each line. If you really don't understand any line, it gives you what is single, etc., for each line of the form. So if you're really stuck, you could click the forms and look for the line number that you're stuck with, and it gives you a pretty thorough explanation of everything. So for right now, we just scroll to the very bottom of each screen, and we go to the very end of the form 1040 for the mailing address, line 65. We are close, almost there. Click another next, and should be it. Yes. So they're asking you if you live in which state and are requesting a refund or are not enclosing a check. And we are requesting a refund, and we look for our state, which is New York in this case. So it will be the intersection of this column and New York line. So this will be the Department of the Treasury, Internal Revenue Service, Kansas City, this state, and this zip code. And we have to write this down on our envelope. Remember, write the return address, put the proper postage, and go to the postal office, and then ask for the signature on delivery or tracking number. I believe priority mail, so you could track it down and you make sure they received it. And remember to keep the copy for yourself. So basically we are done with the federal part, and we are going to the form IT 201, which is New York, right here. Forms and schedule, form IT 201, New York resident income tax return. We click on it, and voila, we have all the information already transferred. Full year resident, first name, last name, date of birth, social security number, mailing address, apartment. Oh, we have to enter the New York State County, which, for example, in this case, will be Kings. And school district name will be Brooklyn. And school district number automatically 071. Okay, that's good. We check everything is there. So we enter here the New York City resident status, which is a taxpayer, full year, This is not a joint return. Yonkers, this is for Brooklyn, so we ignore the Yonkers part. And once again, this is single. They are asking if we are itemized our deduction. For 2016 federal income tax return, we did not. We use standard deduction. Could not be claimed as dependent on another taxpayer federal return. And no, oops. And no accounts located in a foreign country. We assume we only have American accounts. All right. So we maintain the living quarter in New York City. Yes. How many days we spent in New York City? Let's say 365 for the full year. All right. Dependent, we skip it. Once again, it's already there, the wages, the taxable interest, so we just scroll. It's a lot of entries, but we do not use it. Standard deduction applies. It tells us what is the taxable income. We keep scrolling. And it gives us the explanation of everything. We have to look through all these parts. Okay, sales or use tax. We click do not include sales. Unless you click it, you will be charged $52. So we do not want it, so we click it. Anything your voluntary contributions to a good cause, I skip it because I don't have any. Any credits for the family tax release, New York State earned income credit, nothing. Okay, here, New York City school tax credit, part F, $63. We have to add a different form for that, which is NYC 210 and NYC 280. And we have to look for it now on the left part. Here it is. Claim for New York City enhanced real property tax credit. We enter the different information here. Smith 1. Once again, 28. What is it? Main Street, Kings, Brooklyn. Everything is about the same. We change the date of birth. And we are good to go. This was from somebody else's tax return. So it's asking if you're a New York City resident. Yes. Did you occupy the same residence? Yes. Not a dependent, no public housing, no nursing home. Okay. And we enter the correct last name, which is Smith, and we are good to go. So it's calculating how much do we have for our supporting documentation, and basically this is for renters and owners. Let's say we rent, this is how much we pay, and our apartment rent includes heat and gas. So it calculates everything for you. And here it is. Oh, actually it's 0 credit because our income is too high. So we don't have to even bother for this form, but we checked to make sure we have it. And we have to click the form NYC 210 claim for New York City school tax credit. Here it is. Alright, everything is pre-filled. Basically, everything looks good. Okay. Can you be claimed as dependent? No. Enter the month you lived in New York City, 12. Direct deposit. We want a paper check. And here it is. We are done. We have to put our signature here, occupation financial analyst. And remember to print 2 copies, one for yourself and one for the form, supporting IT201 form. Okay, so we print it, we attach it to our IT201, and now we have to go back to the IT201. So we're going back here. Okay, all the way down where we started. So basically, as we go through the form, we just add in the supporting documentation, as I told you. Okay, so we are back to the New York school tax credit here, for which we add in the NYC 210 form. Now we have to enter the total New York State tax withheld, which is a W2 form, line, let me see, 1 second, which is line 17, and let's say it's 2000. Okay, 2000, New York City tax withheld, which is local income tax, box 19, in the W2 form, let's say 400. No yonkers, nothing. That's our total payment. Okay, and we do not overpay it, but we owe this amount, which has to be paid to the IRS. Once again, each situation is unique depending how much you've been charged, what is your salary, so this is just for estimation. Okay, so we keep scrolling down, and once again, we do not anybody else to discuss this with IRS. We enter our signature, occupation, date, and email. For example, John Smith @gmail.com. Okay, and remember, when you did file your federal form, you have to take the W2 form and attach copy B to be filled with the federal income tax return. When you file in the state form, you have to attach copy 2 to be filled with employee state income tax, and copy 2 to be filled with employee city or local income tax, and you attach it to your form as a supporting documentation. Okay, so let's say we are done. We are printing this IT201 form. You click print, 2 copies, 1 for yourself, 1 to send. Click OK. When it's printed, remember to sign it. Attach all the required documentation, and you're good to go. Now we have to find out where do we have to actually mail it. So we click forms. Once again, we click instructions here, and we have to look for the address where we're supposed to actually mail it. It's hidden somewhere in instructions, so we have to scroll down and actually find it. So we keep scrolling for each form and look through it. And once again, it gives you explanation for everything for each line that you filled out. Just in case you're stuck or not sure what are you doing, you could always go to the instruction for the form and see for yourself what is this about. So we're almost there. So you refund, almost end of the form, and we are almost good to go. Here it is, finish your return, step 11. It says, include the following on your envelope: your return address, enough postage, or just pay with the tracking number. Mail your return by April 18, 2017, and if enclosing a payment, and we are enclosing a check or money order for this. We actually have to write down the address on the envelope, and this is the State Processing Center, PO Box such and such, Albany, New York. And we also have to include the form IT201. V stands for voucher, and we have to also attach it to our form IT201. So remember to attach. This is a payment voucher for e-filed return. We don't do e-file, we do regular paper file, but we still have to attach it. And here it is. If you click on it, it shows up. It gives all the information. Here, it tells you how much we have to pay. You just print it, as usually, 2 copies. That's how it will look, but we're not going to print. We just close it. You attach it to your form, collect all your documentation, put it in an envelope, and just mail it. And remember, leave all your copies for yourself. And voila, you are done with your income tax filing for yourself, and it was in a cheap and affordable way. Thank you for watching, and we will talk about some other issues later. Bye bye. Perfect.